So on this week's episode of Be More Super, the podcast, I'm super excited to welcome back this guest that joined us last year, and time has flown, and it's great to say that we're going to get a season 2 of the awesome show, SKYMED. It's Praneet Akilla. Praneet, welcome to the show, sir.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, do you know what? It's an absolute pleasure, and I cannot wait for October the 1st on CBC, and then soon after on Paramount Plus. Those dates are yet to be confirmed for season 2 of SKYMED. So congratulations on season 2. One of my first questions is, how did you find out that you had a season 2? Where was you, and how was it done?
Oh man, where were we? I think I was grocery shopping or something like that, and I got a text from our producer Vanessa, and of course I suddenly forgot what I went into the grocery store for, in all the elation and excitement. So I think that's how I personally found out, and then there was like a giant email that was sent out to the entire cast and crew. So I couldn't be more thrilled to be back.
I mean, what's that feeling like? Because nowadays, shows struggle to get past the first season because we're in a cancel culture. So it's quite nice and refreshing to see a great show get renewed, because for an audience like myself, who's a fan of the show, you get invested in these characters and they always leave you wanting more. So what does it feel like to actually be coming back for a second season, going out of obviously the first one, because you didn't know at that point that it was going to get renewed?
No, and you never do as an actor, or even behind the scenes, right? It's such a rarity to have any show renewed past one season, and so as an actor, I just felt incredibly fortunate that we get to tell the story again. And not only do we tell it again, we get to play the characters that we all sort of fell in love with in the first season. And so we were all just pinching ourselves to be able to get the chance to continue the story. I know Julie Puckrin, our showrunner, had so much more to tell, some great surprises in store. And so just even for her, I felt that we needed at least another season for sure, just for, to showcase all those stories that she told us a little bit. She kind of teased us a little bit in season 1, but to get to fully play it out in fruition was very exciting.
Well, I've got to say, this show, it gives me the feels of there's going to be plenty more seasons, touch wood, to come. Let's hope it's as successful as Grey's Anatomy. That's had 19 seasons odd already, which would be great.
Yeah, I think. Well, it also speaks to the sort of medical procedural, right? And how well it does internationally. Not only SKYMED did incredibly well in season 1 internationally, but even just like you spoke of Grey's Anatomy and House is another example, and whether it's medical or criminal, there's these procedural shows have that staying power for a reason. It's because the characters are really well developed, and not only that, like I think it's easy viewing as well. I think it's after a hard day's work, it's something that you can sit and watch, and it's easily digestible, and there's a reason for why they're successful.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for all the people under the rocks that may not have seen season 1, can you give us just a quick rundown of what the show is about and your awesome character?
Yeah, so SKYMED is a medical procedural set in northern Manitoba, which is in Canada. It's set in the northern cold part of Canada, and it's about emergency medevac pilots and nurses. And by that, I mean emergency rescue workers that operate in remote areas when people are, let's say, stranded. There's a medical emergency in the middle of nowhere. You don't have the services that a city would necessarily provide, so you would need like an air ambulance to come and pick you up and take you to the nearest hospital. And so, unlike other medical shows, this one is cool because it takes place not in a city, and you combine sort of an incredible cast of nurses and pilots working together for a particular company. In this case, SKYMED. The show sort of chronicles and follows these main characters surviving and thriving in northern Manitoba, trying to figure themselves out, but also their careers out in being these service workers in essence. And my character is Chopper, Jay Chopra in full, and Chopper is an incredibly smart pilot and engineer, and he's also a wannabe astronaut as well. He's in love with space, and so he's sort of trying to figure out what his life is all about and where he's going with it. And he escapes to the north after a breakup with his ex, and he decides to pursue becoming a pilot. And yeah, I mean, he's everybody's little brother. That's the best way to put it. He's like really fun loving and everyone's best friend, and is of service always. And yeah, and also a little awkward around girls.
Well, we're going to talk about your eventful journey as Chopper in a moment. But I've got to say, I mean, going back to what you said about how successful this show was, I mean, it was #1 on Paramount Plus, which I think is incredible. I mean, why do you think this show has been so well received worldwide?
Well, I think in that genre, particularly, like, you haven't seen a show like it only because of where it takes place, right? I think it's a part of Canada that people don't usually see or talk about, and so in Canada, though we might know it, I think internationally the reason it did well is because people have no idea that these places sort of exist, or even honestly that the profession exists, right? And it's sort of been underexplored, that part of the world and that particular profession. And I also think that it's like really bingeable candy, right? Like, it's just like it's so, like, the stories are so compelling. Each character's journey and arc is very compelling. It's highly relatable and universal, right? Like, everybody, no matter who you are, you will see yourself in one of the characters at least. And yeah, I think all of those reasons combined is why it's doing so well.
I mean, the writing on the show, I have said it many times, is incredible, because there's no small characters. These storylines are just beautifully written. They really are. We saw Chopper have quite an eventful journey in season 1, and sadly Rebecca's not coming back as Emma. So the question is, will we be seeing Chopper have a new love interest? Is his luck going to finally pay off for this season?
So I can't give anything away, but without giving anything away, I can say that at the end of season 1, we leave Chopper and Emma in sort of a weird state where, Emma goes and travels to try and be with herself for a little bit. And I think Chopper is also on that similar journey. I think instead of rebounding back into a relationship right away after his own sort of trauma and after his own sort of family history and his previous relationship, I think Chopper's also in a space where we last leave him, he's off to space camp. And so I think he's in a place where he's highly career focused. And so that's the best way to put it.
Do you know what? The one thing I love about Chopper is that he always finds himself in these situations by none of his own doing. It literally falls upon him, and I just think it's hilarious, and I relate to that so much, because I've never been a ladies' man, and in my younger years, I've always ended up in situations where I think, how? Do you know what I mean? What the hell's going on?
Oh my God. Yeah.
But what was it like getting the band back together for season 2 with some new members on board as well?
Yes. It was so amazing. It was awesome. Like, I mean, I can't say enough great things about our cast and crew. And we had 2 new additions. We had Sydney Kuhn, and then we also had Ryan Ali as well. And we had just the best time with the new recurring guest star members of our team, and their storylines too, which I can't wait for the audience to see as well. And they integrated themselves into our cast, not only on camera but off camera, so seamlessly. Sydney and I met Sydney on the drive to our hotel that we stayed at in the town that we were filming at on, like, literally day 1. So I got to know her really well. and she's just so positive and so enthusiastic, and she's just very infectious. Like she's got that really infectious, enthusiastic energy that like lights up a room right away. And so working with her was incredible, and working with Ryan, who's become one of my really good friends now as well, has been amazing. And Ryan was in season 1 as well for a little bit. He kind of popped in, but he's there more regularly this season. And then it was just a treat to get to spend time in the sandbox again with the people that I got to hang out with in season 1. Bodhi and Lexi and of course Morgan and Natasha and Keon. So it was just wonderful to kind of reunite. And what I found fascinating personally was there's this weird trepidation in season 1 where you don't fully own the character that you're playing, because we're all sort of getting used to what the show is, and we're all getting used to sort of the cadence of how the character talks and how do we walk comfortably in their shoes, right? Because I think there's that weird sort of fine line where you're like, oh, like I don't know exactly what this is yet, and seeing a whole season go by, seeing how well it did worldwide, and then like coming back into it, and just the confidence that we all had, and the fun choices we all were making, because we all finally felt like we were our characters fully, and so just as a scene partner and as an actor, just seeing my fellow actor just revel in the script and also just in themselves and that character was incredible to see. So
I mean, at the end of season 2, obviously we see Chopper potentially joining the Canadian space program. So when they announced obviously season 2 and we see you on board for that, I was so excited, because I think Chopper's got so much more story, and I just want things to go right for him, because throughout season 1, he's definitely has had his ups and downs. He's had his challenges. So it's going to be really, really nice to see him back on screen. I mean, what was you most excited about coming back and actually playing Chopper?
I will say that what Julie Pucker, our incredible showrunner, teased in season 1 was that we were going to get Darth Chopper this season. Now I didn't realize this at the time. I thought she was making a Star Wars joke, and so I thought she actually meant Darth Chopper. She was just saying Dark Chopper. I'm a full Star Wars nerd, so I made that into Darth Chopper. but by that I mean, we got to see a lot of his fun-loving side, and of course he went through a lot of stuff in season 1, but we really sort of get deeper with him, and darker. Like, and I know it's a little cliche to say like, oh, it's grittier and darker and stuff like that, and it's that's sort of the talking point for any sequel or any sort of season 2. But it's this. I think this journey for Chopper in season 2 is a darker one, and for very important reasons, and as you'll all see very soon. And I think for me, that's what I was excited about, just the challenge of portraying a different side to him. And I don't know, like at the very, very last episode of season 1, when you see him, running into the space camp with all the other cadets, and you see his hands shake, right? And I think that's a really good foreshadowing to what we can expect out of Chopper's journey this season.
So many questions, because
I know.
I did notice that, and I was thinking, and I love how it is written to literally, pull you in and make you ask so many questions.
Those cliffhangers are cool. Those cliffhangers are cruel. Yeah.
I mean, what do you think is Chopper's crowning moment from season 1 that you enjoyed the most about playing?
Oh man, what did I enjoy the most? That's a hard question. I enjoyed so much. I think for me, like my personal favorites were episode 5, 4 and 5. The whole Chopper Emma storyline, but also sort of the awkwardness that came with it, and him bumbling around as he did, and but also that sort of that emotional scene where he sort of confesses his feelings for her and knocks on her door at the end. I really sort of liked his journey during that point. But I also just love the sort of realization that he has, about how his ex almost made him give up flying, but yet he still sort of pursued it, and he has to stick to one thing and he has to look out for himself, right? I think the journey for Chopper was, at least in season one, it was about being selfless and being there for other people and not really taking care of himself. And I think by the end of season one, he chose himself, because his whole life he's been choosing others, right? He's been his entire vocation as an engineer was because somebody else told him to. Him being a pilot was the first time he sort of made a decision to sort of look out for himself. But even within that, it's like he's doing the pilot thing, yes, but then he actually really wants to do this, and so those layers of, kind of drilling down and being like, what do you really want? Who are you really? Right. Was the journey that I really enjoyed. And then finally him cementing by deciding to go to space camp was what I really enjoyed. And yeah, I think for season 2, Chopper, I think it's interesting because I think the theme for Chopper really in season 2 is when the things that you're good at are taken away from you. And when your entire identity is wrapped up in your career, who are you outside of it? And can you live with yourself? So that's sort of the tease. Right,
but anyway, I can't wait till the 1st of October. But one of my crowning moments for Chopper, I've got to say, is when he had in the clubhouse. He had the gentleman that was injured, and you had to literally save his life. And you had to do that operation on him. With like literally like a paperclip, and I just thought that was awesome. I really, really did. I mean, I've watched the season twice now. So I watched the whole season, and then for the run up for season 2, I watched it again because it is bingeable. It is sort of it's nonstop. I don't know how they fit it all in every episode. I really, really don't. So would you like to take home a piece of film history or TV history into your own home? Find your own piece of magic with Prop Store, the world's leading auctioneers of film props, costumes, and more. So check out propstore.com or follow the link in the description of this video. And while you're doing that, why don't you use our special code? Our special code will give you 10% off anything in the Buy Now section. And the code is easy to remember. It's Brian10. That's BRYAN 10, and it's just above the finger, just here. Use that at the checkout to get your 10% off. That's propstore.com. I mean, I love the interactions that we see on screen with the characters. Is there any characters that you didn't have as much time with last season that you're going to be sharing the screen with more for this season?
Ooh. I'm trying to think off the top of my head now. I don't know. I'm trying to think I guess I spent only a little bit of time with Lexi's character. This season, it's interesting because this season, oh man, I'm trying to avoid spoilers because I can't. I'm trying to walk around.
You know what? I've got that there. I can pop up on screen at any point.
Perfect.
Which, if you feel that you need to do a spoiler, I can just mute it out and just put a beep.
Yeah. I think it was pretty balanced. I think. I mean, I think this season I got to work a decent amount with a lot of people. I didn't really, I didn't work with Morgan much this season at all, and I didn't really work with Mercedes much this season at all either. But that's the thing with these ensemble cast sort of shows is there's so many different storylines, and sometimes you just won't see people for weeks, and you'd be like, oh right, we're in the scene together now. That's right, you're part of this world, and that's what I always find funny about the show. It's like, oh, that's right. I will say I got to work with Aaron Ashmore, who plays Weezer, a good amount this season, and he's just such a generous spirit, and I really enjoyed working with him, and he's such an incredible actor and friend now. So yeah.
I mean, from certain social media posts, we can see that you had such a great time shooting season 2, but also a great time off camera as well. How different was it filming this season under a bit more relaxed environment? Because obviously COVID restrictions from season 1 to now season 2. I mean, was it a breath of fresh air compared to season 1?
Yeah, it was definitely. I think the COVID restrictions, of course, were very important and necessary. But yeah, like the same sort of socialization you don't get. I think this season, well, what was different is we were in a town called North Bay, Ontario, and North Bay was a very small town, and so there's only so much you can really do and go, as opposed to like a bigger city that we were filming in. So you naturally bond with your castmates because there's only us and whatever's there at our disposal in the town that we're living in. And it was incredibly beautiful, there was a beautiful lake in the town, and we were sort of filming from winter to spring, summer, and seeing sort of the weather change, and starting with like walking on the frozen lake, and snowmobiling and stuff like that, into like playing beach volleyball on the beach and having picnics in the sunshine, and that, going through that transition with the cast and crew was a ton of fun. And I think we all do a very good job of taking initiative on different activities, ATVing and just simple walks on the beach and walks in the park and stuff like that. Our group chat is always busy. Let's just put it that way. Like,
it sounds like a working holiday. It sounds like you had a great time.
Oh, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. It doesn't sound like it is. It is exactly that.
I mean, have you got any funny moments that you can share that you had on set or off set with the cast? Anything go wrong that was hilarious? Anything that you want to share?
Oh man. Okay, no, that's a bit of a, yeah. I think there were some funny moments, bloopers, as it does, where there's a fun moment in one of the episodes where we luckily had the entire cast and happened to be there on that particular day for the scene, and it was a really important moment for Chopper, and having not, because I'm working with different cast members intermittently, so being there that day, it was so difficult to get any sort of work done because everybody was just riled up and making each other laugh and just being complete idiots, and and I think for Chopper in that moment, it was a really beautiful scene because the entire cast is there, and yeah, I just it was hard getting through the scene. There were a lot of bloopers, and I can't give away what the scene was about because then that's a spoiler. But yeah, I think in general, you put a bunch of us together in a place, and it's dangerous. It's a dangerous cocktail.
So, without giving anything away, how different is season 2 to season 1? Mm-hmm. What are we going to expect to see on our screens? How different is it?
Well, I think I was touching on it earlier. I think ultimately it is darker, it is grittier, it is all of those things. But it's also, the character storylines get deeper. A lot of characters have to make very tough decisions. There's a lot of adversity. I think certainly for Chopper, there's a lot of adversity. I think with the addition of the new characters, there are some new romances and new sort of there's sort of reckonings with some of the characters as well, right? And so I think ultimately that's how it's different. I think season 1 was a really good introduction to the world and the characters. I think season 2 is, okay, you're all here to stay. Here's how I'm gonna screw with all of you. You know what I mean? Like that's what it was. And it was done in a fantastic way with all the writers and Julie, and yeah, so I'm just very excited for people to finally see it.
Cannot wait. And I know that we touched on it the last time you was on the show. You said that you kept a few of the patches from your jumpsuit and your dog tags. Have you managed to get anything else from the show this time round?
I think I got a few more patches this season, and but nothing crazy. Like I think the thing also is like season 1 is you know what I mean? Like we talked about it a little bit in the sense that like you never know if this is the last time, right? So like that's where I like took all the souvenirs, but this season I didn't take too many. there was some stuff costume wise that I was able to get from the costume department, but overall I let them keep their stuff, and then season 3 hopefully we'll get back to it again.
I can't wait. I really can't. I just wanted to ask about something else as well that I watched on YouTube, which I thought was amazing, which is Raksha.
Oh wow. Oh, thank you so much.
And I've got to say, I am hooked. I want to see more.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, if you can explain a bit about what it is, I will put the link on this video in the description. So if you're watching now, go on the description. I will put the link. You've got to watch this video. If you can explain a bit about what it is, because it's awesome.
Thank you so much for showcasing that. I really appreciate that. So outside of me being an actor, I'm a producer as well, and part of that is me getting to tell stories that I normally don't see myself. There's a lot of talk about representation and diversity, but the way I see representation and diversity is through the lens of fun and entertainment, and not necessarily trauma and struggle. Though there are important stories about those things, I think it's important to move the messaging forward and make fun stories that have the diversity and representation we need. So this particular show is Raksha. It's a digital musical series, and it's an original musical series created by the brilliant writer-director Tesh Gudikanda, who's my creative partner as well. And it's about a girl who failed grade 12, is entering summer school at a very sort of turbulent time in her life, and she has to balance summer school as well as her parents being secret demon hunting vigilantes, which is in the family business, and she has to live up to their legacy as well. But it's also a really beautiful show about grief and depression and mental health. And she also teams up with her sidekick, who is a demon in the form of a 1980s Tollywood star, not Bollywood, Tollywood star. There we go. Yeah, that's right. And so the best way I can describe it is his superpower, this demon superpower, is he gets trapped in artwork. So it's a very anticlimactic superpower. And so where we meet him in the show, he's trapped in an 80s Tollywood movie poster. And the poster is like the lamp and he's like the genie, essentially. And so, it's a really fun-loving, Disney Pixar-esque musical come to life. And we're right now trying to raise financing to get it made as a full series. There's some exciting stuff being developed there. And as soon as I'm allowed to announce it, I will more than happily come onto your show and we can talk about it. Yeah,
definitely. Because in that video, I've got to say that song is so catchy. It really, really is. Is there no end to your talent? I mean, how much fun was it to film that video? Because I mean, it was just incredible. It really was.
Oh man, it was so much fun. We did that in 2 days, and that was all 2 days of filming. We had like 2 weeks of rehearsals, of dance rehearsals and stuff. And my background is I'm come from the musical theater world, so like I that's how I sort of I grew up doing musical theater. I did lots of musical theater extracurricularly while I was studying engineering, and so I could always sing and dance. I just never get the opportunity to do that much, and so I wanted to really showcase that part of myself. It's so different from who I've played before, right? So part of that for me was just getting to be silly and just getting to showcase those skill sets, and hopefully, we make a show out of it. And yeah.
I mean, the look of your character is great. I mean, what was the inspiration behind that look? Because to me, it was like a mix between. I hope you don't mind me saying, but it's a mix between Michael Jackson and Freddie Mercury. I don't know why.
That's exactly. Yeah. No, you're 100% right, and I'm so happy when people get the reference, because that jacket is a very thriller-esque jacket, and that's because in the 80s, Tollywood and Bollywood were very influenced by Michael Jackson, both in fashion sense and pop culture sense. Like, they were infiltrated by Michael Jackson. So like, if you actually take a look at a lot of the 80s, 90s, early 90s Bollywood cinema and Tollywood cinema, you'll see a lot of the heroes had those sort of really pop, Michael Jackson-esque leather jackets and like the ear piercings and even their dance moves in all of the sort of musical numbers in that era were very inspired by Michael Jackson. And so that was 100% the inspiration was because he's a character that's stuck in that form. So that's why. And I'm also from that part of the world. Like my background is Telugu, and I grew up watching Tollywood cinema. And so you know RRR, right?
No.
RRR, it was the movie. Well, it was nominated for Best Foreign Film at the Oscars, and then it also they performed a musical number at the Oscars this year. It's on Netflix. You should definitely go check it out
Is
if
it
you can.
RRR? Did you say
RRR? Yeah. It's that and Everything Everywhere All at Once were the definition of maximalist sort of entertainment. It's become a huge cult hit, and it blew up in North America. One of the biggest Hollywood movies ever to blow up outside of India, and it came out last year. And part of the inspiration is I wanted to showcase my culture on screen. You know, not many people know about it, and so
that
it was
poster
just like, how do I
awesome. I'm looking at the poster now and the artwork. It's just awesome.
You need to watch it sometime this week, and yes, you need to message me.
I will do. I promise I will watch it. I mean, why can't all movies have like artwork and posters like these that I'm looking at right now? I don't know if I can see.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
It's incredible.
I'm telling you, you have no idea. I can't even explain to you. Like you won't have any idea what to expect. Let's just put it that way. Yeah.
I promise I'll watch it. And is the intent that you're going to be, so obviously you're going to be getting funding or trying to get funding for this series. Are you going to be starring in it then? As that character go brilliant, that is great.
Yeah.
As soon as you get all the links, let me know. I will share on social media. I'll get behind it as well. Because
I think the best thing is just a YouTube link. The more people that can sort of watch it and like it and comment on it, the better it is. So
yeah. I mean, I think it goes for 4 minutes 20 seconds, and literally you want it to go for longer. So quickly before we say goodbye, have you got anything planned for the 1st of October for when the premiere of season 2 comes out?
So right now I'm actually in the middle of rehearsals for a play that I'm doing. It's a brand new Canadian play by Christine Quintana. She's a Governor General award-winning playwright, one of Canada's best playwrights, in my opinion, but I'm also biased. But I'm doing a play with her at the moment, and so I'll probably be in rehearsals that night, unfortunately. But you know, I will have it. I'm gonna be binging the whole thing, on our streaming platform here. So that's my plan on my day off. But yeah, I mean, I'm just really touched. I mean, I remember so vividly the premiere last season, and something that you work towards as an actor, you know, is moments like this. And particularly for me, like only a few short years ago, I was just a chemical engineer in a cubicle with no idea how to get to this point. And so when it premiered last season, and I got texts from all sorts of people and these really, really wonderful, sweet messages congratulating me and stuff, it was one of the best moments of my life. And I think I'm just grateful that we get to tell the story again. I'm grateful for people like you that are supporting the show, supporting the careers, our careers as artists as well, giving us a platform to speak about the stuff. And just very, very thankful for this opportunity.
And I was going to ask you, one of the last questions was, what's been your last watch on TV or in the theatre, which you would recommend viewers to go and see? Obviously, you've recommended RRR for me. Is there any shows that you've watched recently that you think is just outstanding that people should go and watch?
It's a good question. You know what? It's on the top of my head, but anybody that hasn't seen Barry should go see Barry on HBO.
I haven't.
Bill Hader. Yeah.
Yeah, my mate, my co-host for my live shows love that show. So I need. But the thing is, though, we are literally flooded with so much content with all these streaming. So all these amazing shows you miss because there's so much out there. So I will put that on my list, I promise, after watching your recommendation.
Yes.
But Praneet, thank you so much for coming on to the show again.
Thank you so much, Brian.
And I hope to have you on in the future to talk about your future ventures. But keep safe and stay super, my friend.
Thank you so much, Brian. Thank you. Appreciate this. And yeah, we'll be back soon. We'll talk soon.